go. What it took. What's up, everyone? Buddy from MusicLandria back again with another episode of What It Took. I am super stoked to announce that today we've got the amazing Miss MouthPeace up in the studio. This is going to be a fun one. I'm really excited to see where this conversation goes and to learn more about the journey that Miss MouthPeace has gone on. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yes, I want to say first, thank you for having me on this show. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Miss Mouthpiece, and I am an artist, a creative, a songwriter, and I have been doing this for a very long time.
Awesome. Yeah, so as the namesake of this interview series goes, it's all about what it took to X, right? To record an album, to kind of create a single, to like navigate how to market oneself in today's kind of music zone, or I don't know. Music is weird nowadays, so it's interesting to sort of chat with people about just what has your individual journey looked like. And I think I want to start with quickly kind of chatting with you about like what it took for you to become the artist that you are today.
Yeah, that's a really good question. My journey has been so amazing. When I think about when I first started out, I didn't know anything about music. I didn't know anything about, writing. I didn't even know that I could write. My journey kind of stemmed from, using my personal experiences and writing from those personal experiences. I think everything I wrote about was literally my life at that time. And when I came into the business of music, things were definitely different. It wasn't as independent as it is today. It was like you had to be attached to either some type of label, or you needed something a little bit more than just saying I'm an independent artist. So I came in actually attaching myself to the poetry world, to even make a name for myself, and that's kind of how I became, being known as an artist.
Super cool. How did you sort of get connected with the poetry scene, and what was it like to try to pursue like a relationship with a label?
It was definitely interesting. I mean, like I said, I didn't know a lot. I was young, um, just getting my nose just was
Mm-hmm.
kind of open at the time, and you know, all I knew is that I could sing, and I can be creative, and I can write songs. But I didn't know the business behind it.
Yep.
And I think not knowing the business and kind of putting your trust in someone else, kind of, it leaves you in a place where you can be stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of was my experience.
Yeah. So let's kind of dive a little bit deeper into the label thing. I think a lot of people that might be watching this could learn a lot from that, especially in today's musical climate where relationships with labels are really different than they were just a short amount of time ago. And I think, I have a lot of conversations with people that I think that whole universe is really shrouded in mystery. So I'd be super curious to hear more about like what that looked like for you if you're
Yeah, for me, it was like I said, I didn't know a lot. So because, you know, this was a new experience for me, my everything, I just put my trust into this particular person that I was like, hey, it was kind of presented to me in a very professional way. Um, and everything sounded good when it came
Mm.
to how we can create the project. But when it came to, what happens after the project, that conversation was different.
Hmm.
Um, and I think, when you don't know what to ask and you don't really have, you're not educated about how to market yourself, or you're dependent on someone else to market yourself, what that does is it puts you in a place where you don't have any freedom. You don't have liberty in your creativeness. And for me, it was, it just was to me a little bit of lights and glams, but I was left kind of like, even now, I don't really have the access to a lot of those songs that I wrote. I I didn't understand this then. I read it, but in the CD cover it says that I was donating my lyrics.
Wait.
And I didn't know that that's what was happening.
Whoa, I don't get it. What do you mean? How'd that work?
So basically the person um kind of made it where they said I was donating the lyrics to the project. And like I said, I was very uneducated, so I didn't even know what that meant at the time. I thought, well, I didn't know about, you know, royalties. I didn't know about, I didn't even know about ASCAP. I didn't know about BMI then. I didn't know about publishing. I didn't know about, that you can get money for, I didn't even know that I can even fight for my music. And by the time that I did, and I remember even a conversation in that, I remember in this partnership and them saying most people wouldn't even sue you because they don't want to go through the court fees. They don't want to go through, it's a scare tactic that sometimes is used for you to be like, okay, well, yeah, I don't want to go through that and I don't have enough money.
Right.
And so you kind of limit yourself because you don't know. And sometimes you're taken advantage because you're not educated. And I think that mentality kind of stayed with me for a long time. I also, to be really honest, I ran away from studio stuff, and I was safe in just doing live music because that it did something. It left for like a imprint, to my heart, because I really was excited to really just give my all in my music. And I thought that this was going to take me to a level. It didn't stop me. It didn't define me, but it did delay my journey in music. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's I hate hearing stories like that, but I think they're extremely common, right? Again, I don't get a lot of opportunities to have deep conversations with people about what their label experiences are like, but I think more often than not they end with like, hey, I really got screwed here, right?
Yes.
Like I don't hear a lot of like glowing stories about musicians that have worked with labels.
Yes.
So I think that again is really interesting to sort of keep in mind now, right? Especially since relationships with labels are so different,
Right.
and the music scene is so different now that it almost feels like people aren't pursuing relationships with labels.
Right.
But what's the alternative there? Right? I don't know. I mean, I think you brought up an interesting point where you mentioned sort of pivoting to just really focusing on like a live performance kind of focus.
Right.
Yeah. And do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes. So, I always felt in my heart that, I was creative, and I started performing live. That's just before I even became a recording artist. I was, I started doing improv and doing poetry. And so that was what I was comfortable in doing. And because I was doing that, I knew that that was that one thing that no one can take away from me. You can't steal my creativity. And for me, that's why I was not only just making platforms for myself, but I was giving other artists and musicians a platform to be creative as well. It wasn't about me. There was times where I would have a show like the improv sessions, and I would always have different artists come and open up, from different musicians. That was a safe space for people that were creative. I always wanted to share my stage. I always wanted to show that I wasn't selfish and that I wasn't trying to take advantage of anyone. I wanted to give that space for creatives to have the same opportunity to show their art, especially in Sacramento. Yes.
Yeah, I love that. What was it? What was it like, and what did it take to sort of meet and connect with and find other musicians to work with?
Yeah, so it's funny. Like, I have a really big personality, so a lot of my, it was just meeting people and having conversations, from starting from poetry events, or I would be
Mm.
at another event and meet another musician, and we just would connect, and it was about networking. At that time when I transitioned, network was my best friend.
Mm.
I really had to learn how to use my smile, use my personality, and say, yo, let's create, let's put something together. I'm
Mm-hmm.
having a show. There was a lot of times that I didn't even have a show really planned, but because I was speaking it, I was manifesting it. And when people agreed, I said, okay, now let's make it happen. And I
Mm.
did every single time. Um,
That's awesome. I love hearing that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like flashbacks to when it was okay to do performances,
Right.
which I'm sure we'll talk about more later. But yeah, I'm also really curious. You mentioned like creating safe space for musicians, and I'm curious. Yeah, I'd love to hear more about that and like what it took to make that happen.
Oh, wow. It definitely was a lot of work.
Yeah, how so?
Because as an artist, I started out as a promoter before I started singing, and then kind of crossing over to being an artist, and then going back to trying to be an artist and a promoter. It was a lot of work because I had a safe space to be creative, but I didn't have enough room to really focus on just the music because I had to make sure that, the songs were in place. People knew what was happening,
Mm-hmm.
what was going to be the pay. And sometimes it wasn't a lot of pay, sometimes it was what I had. Sometimes it was from the door. Sometimes it was, sometimes my budget was good. Sometimes my budget was not. But it wasn't never a situation where people can say that they walked away and felt like they didn't get anything from me.
Mm.
I always made sure that I took care of people that was in my space, no matter if the pay was large or small.
Mm-hmm.
I always made sure that I did that. But the part that really was hard was putting shows together, um, thinking about how you wanted to create this show, coming up with a theme, coming up with the musicians.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's certain musicians that don't like to play with other musicians. Most
Yeah.
musicians want to only play with their friends.
Mm.
There was a lot of musicians that, maybe didn't even really care for me, but they liked the fact that they were getting paid and they played. You
Right.
know, I dealt with a lot of different things. I had some really great experiences with music, and I've had some very um, hurtful experiences with music where when I drive home after all of this beautiful night, and I would just feel depleted because I was giving myself out to everyone, but I wasn't giving to myself.
That I think is a really, really important thing to talk about.
Yeah.
Self care when it comes to like event coordinating or just performing or both.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a lot of conversations around that, but yeah, let's go deeper into that. Yeah,
Yes.
talk more about that and like what that would look like in an ideal scenario, I guess, or like why you think that happened.
Well, for me, I can be so transparent and honest.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, you know, my confidence level, I always had it from the outside, but I didn't have it in the inside. So it didn't really match. When I say confidence, it doesn't mean that I didn't believe in myself, but I didn't stand up for myself. In a lot of times,
Mm.
I was going with the flow because I was trying to be the person that wanted to be accepted, of being the cool artist that's collabing. But at the end of the day, it just seemed like the more that I was doing that, it seemed like it was more of a sabotaging,
Mm.
because I really was trying to give myself a space where my intentions were right. But what happens when you don't give self-care to yourself and you're trying to give to other people, that's an insecurity.
Mm.
And you sometimes you don't realize that that's an insecurity when you're not giving you first. You're not giving yourself permission to sit in and study your craft and understand who you are as an artist. You're trying to help develop other artists, which is a great thing. But you can't develop anyone if you can't develop yourself, and you can't put yourself in a position where you are learning about your creativity and how you can expand on that.
Yeah, awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, so the idea of burning a bridge when you're trying to help someone, right? I think that happens more often than people are willing to admit. And again, I don't think people talk about that very often.
Yes.
But yeah, what do you think is the solution there, right? Like to sort of inspire more self-care for individuals that, you know, are trying to provide a platform for other people to be creative. Like what can those types of people do you think, to avoid burning a bridge when you're just trying to help provide a platform for creativity to other people?
Well, let's just say first, I'll use my own experience. I think that you first have to make sure that your full intention is okay, that you go in with full great intentions, but you have to be able to communicate. I think the lack of communication is really why a lot of bridges are burnt, because, you know, people have their own expectations of what they want from you,
right,
or what they thought you should have done for them. And in your mind, you thought, listen, I gave you a platform. I gave you an opportunity to do this and do that. And it may not be enough. And sometimes, even with those platforms, even if they feel like, you know, you owe them something else, what happens is I think that you have to make sure as a person, as an individual that's giving somebody a platform and a space, that you have a plan that is written out, that you know exactly what's going on, and you can be able to articulate that where there's no discrepancies about what's happening, where you're going, what you're doing, your expectations. And two, you have to either say no, you have to learn how to say no, and you also have to say, you know, this is what I can do and this is what I can accommodate.
Yep.
Without trying to always people please.
Yep.
I think people pleasing is what makes you get to the point where the fire is starting on the bridge.
Yep, you get burned out.
And you get burned out. And that's what happened to me. I got burned out. You know, I was doing it. It became so repetitive. My shows were becoming repetitive, singing the same old songs. It started to be the same thing because then I was losing the passion for it, and I was still trying to hold on to it. I was trying to hold on to music. I have this song a rock song that I wrote, and it's called Love Won't Accept Me. But really, it really wasn't talking about a romantic relationship. It was talking about the music relationship. And it was just talking about that sometimes I'm trying to get close to you, and it just seems like every time I get close, I'm being pushed and you're not accepting me. And that could be from just trying to get to the next level, or you're trying to create spaces where you're doing things that are something that no one else is doing. And I felt like as an artist, I was the one that was always doing something different in the music scene. And in my time when I was, you know, putting on shows, it wasn't a lot of female, you know, women artists that was doing it. We have had women that put on shows and events, but at that time it was me, and I didn't really have a team. I was everybody. I was the artist. I was trying to do everything by myself, and that's a lack of self-care.
Right. Yeah. Burnout City. Recipe for burnout, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's crazy. If you were to kind of go back and like reevaluate, or like what would you do different in terms of like event planning? And then I definitely want to like maybe switch gears a little bit and talk more about like your less event stuff, like coordinating, and more about like the actual music for your personal music creation stuff.
Yeah. So I think to go back, you know, what I would definitely do different is make sure that I have solid relationships with people that I'm actually inviting to do business with. I think that that's so important, is making sure that you vibe, making sure you have great chemistry. I think a lot of times for me was the fact that, you know, like, oh, this person is dope. I want to work with them. But maybe their energy or maybe your energy that clashed, and you don't realize that sometimes that is bringing really a negative energy into what you're trying to do, just because you guys don't really match. And just because you're both creatives doesn't mean, it's just like a relationship. You both may look good, but that doesn't mean that you're meant to be together.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that would be one of the first things. And then secondly, just like really having not that I didn't have a plan before, but really moving with intention, being very intentional about how I move and how I want it to look like. And making sure that I have a team and not trying to do things by myself, but having like-minded people with me that have the same passion, the same, tenacity that I have, that matches what we're trying to accomplish, which is the goal of the purpose.
That's the dream right there, huh?
That's the dream.
Yep. Cool. All right, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about more of like your process or the path to, just sort of create, right? Like, what does it look like for you to create, fill in the blank?
To be a creative for me, I love doing all different things. I love songwriting.
Mm-hmm.
I love doing improv. I love songwriting for others just outside of myself. I think one of my amazing challenges that I discovered last year was writing for someone else. And I had to kind of get out of my own box, get out of my own comfort zone, and really think about, listen to the artists and how they do their riffs, and how they connect with music, and that was so beautiful to do, because I had an opportunity not to only just write for myself, but I had an opportunity to push myself to the next level as a writer. And I think I just love live performing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is just one of my things that I'm really great at.
How often, what does your like practice schedule or whatever look like when you're preparing for a show or a performance?
So it's weird. Many years, I was a mother that, had kids and had jobs. And so, we would have band rehearsals.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that was maybe 1 or 2 rehearsals. So I was having rehearsal in cars, driving, practicing over my, at work. I literally remember, a job that I had, and I would literally be walking around singing, but that was my practice time.
Cool.
Exercising. I used to love walking. I would do 6 miles, sometimes 8. That was my time to walk and create. So I've always had, these different experiences. Last year, during the COVID, there was an app called Voicey, and I got invited to do it, and that's really what got me back to like understanding, like, I can create even in this space.
What is Voicey?
So Voicey is an app that is for musicians and singers,
Mm-hmm.
and they, some producers upload their productions of their music, and you get to sing over it, and you get to create whatever you want. You can either do a cover, you can write your own songs. So I was doing both. I was creating, and it's only 1 minute, but that 1 minute, because of attention span and how music has changed now, it kind of like put me in a space to like show me like I can create and write a song and give my best little 1 minute song.
That's cool. No, that's neat. Yeah. It sounds like a creative constraint, right?
Absolutely.
I love those.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, it was really dope.
Cool. So yeah, maybe I want to wrap up with sort of an experimental idea.
Okay.
Where I want you to ask yourself a question, sort of like for like your future self.
Okay.
Right? Or like maybe we can kind of experiment with like what kind of advice do you want to give yourself, your 5-year in the future self?
I
You
like
know what I
that.
mean? Kind of like maybe this could sort of act as a time capsule, and in 5 or 10 years you can watch this interview and be like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would say to Mouthpiece, to continue to getting your lessons,
Mm-hmm.
continue doing your vocal lessons, continue stretching yourself, mastering your craft, not just singing and performing, but understanding your why and why you perform,
Mm.
and understanding the theory and the background of music, every aspect, and not being stuck in one genre, but being able to be open to all music, so you can have more of an intelligent ear for music, and being, not that you're not passionate, but allowing your fire never to die, no matter what the circumstances that are thrown at you, to keep using your voice and keep inspiring people with your music. And don't limit yourself from being a local artist. Touch the masses, be
Mm.
universal. Don't be scared. Be bold and be courageous, and you will succeed. You just have to believe in yourself and know that you have to stick to the plan when you write it down.
Yeah, I love that. That's epic. Super fun. I can't wait to watch that in 5 years and be like, did you get there? Did they get there?
Right.
Yeah.
I absolutely will get there. Watch.
Yeah, watch. Cool. All right. Do you have any shout outs that you want to give to anybody?
You know what? I want to give a shout out to anyone that's ever like played on the stage with me,
Mm.
any artists, musicians, promoters that have ever gave me opportunity, from photographers to, I mean, just had just a lot of people that have supported me
Mm-hmm.
in my journey. So I want to shout out to all my fans, my followers, all the people that have believed in me, and seen greatness in me, even when times when I didn't see it in myself. Thank you for not giving up on me. And shout out to Sacramento,
Mm.
my city. Thank you for allowing me to share my gift. And, this has just been a wonderful journne. And shout out to y'all for this wonderful,
Thank
beautiful
you.
interview. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah.
Yes.
This was great so far. What an awesome interview. Super fun to chat with you. All right, before we sign off, any last bits of information you want to share with people watching? Any kind of new things in the works? Yeah, good time to just kind of share what's up, share what's new.
Yeah. So, not only am I an artist, I'm a life coach, and I am branding my new brand called MouthPeace. So what I did was I collabed my name, which my name is Monique, and Mouthpiece together. So it's MouthPeace. Sometimes we need MouthPeace in our life.
Yeah.
And so MouthPeace it's not just for life coaching, but I do music therapy. And music therapy is a way of healing. So I want to give a shout out to MouthPeace brand,
Mm,
life coaching.
cool.
And if you want to find me, you can find me at Miss Mouthpiece. I'm at Miss Mouthpiece on Instagram and Facebook.
Great.
So
Yeah, send me all those links and we'll put them in the description for sure.
yeah, but also I wanted to say that my name is not pieces, it's peace, like peace in the world or peace of God.
Awesome. Cool. All right.
All right, thank you.
Right on. Cool. Thanks again for coming in. Really appreciate you taking the time to sort of chat and share your story. And yeah. All right. So thanks everyone for watching as well. Again, if you aren't familiar, we stream here live at the Library of MusicLandria, which is just a creative hub for Sacramento musicians. Folks can borrow music instruments for totally free. Folks can come here and do a podcast. They can be interviewed. We got a radio station called Sacramento Dirt that focuses 100% on Sacramento area music. So if you got some music that you want to submit, check out our website, MusicLandria.com, and please submit your music. We hecka want to add it to Sacramento Dirt. And then, we're hoping once COVID and the pandemic kind of gets out of everyone's way to start doing more live shows here. So hit us up if you're interested in maybe getting on a wait list for that. We're down to help with recording, practice space, and we're just trying to be uber creative and uber supportive of the music community here. So If you have any fun ideas that you want help actualizing, hit us up. We'd love to help brainstorm or get creative about how to make this music community just even stronger. And finally, if you just want some advice or some one-on-one mentorship on any music-related topic, hit us up and we do one-on-one just kind of chats about, what do I do with my new single that I just recorded? How do I get it out there, right? Like, how do I write a song? Any topic you're interested in, we're down to rap with you. All right, so thanks again, everyone. Thanks, Miss MouthPeace. It was such an honor to chat with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, can't
Likewise.
wait to stay in touch and add any music you've got that you want to submit to Sacramento Dirt. Would love to feature you on there. So
Yes, I would love that.
that would be so cool. All right, peace out, everyone. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.